Welcome back in, guys. Hope you guys had a good weekend. We had a monster 8-unit 4-0 sweep Saturday. We lose 1 unit on a total yesterday. Happy MLK Day. And you guys know of Bobby Vanilla Day. It's going to be Shohei Ohtani Day in the future. This is the sportsbooks version of that, and collecting their Dallas Cowboys future tickets, getting all their money in today. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Crazy football, crazy games all around. We saw some Dame time in Milwaukee last night. That made it so the Bucks now 15 straight wins against the Kings, longest active win streak between any two teams in NBA currently. A lot going on, lots to talk about. Good weekend for the Massa Edge members. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you guys go check out the app or website. Really quick, we're going to go through all the games. Going to give you guys all the sides today, bets in both football games. Like, comment, subscribe below. John, crazy weekend. How you doing today?
Okay. Crazy weekend is to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
We start the weekend off before the games even start. We're betting the total today. We bet under on the Buffalo Steeler total. And as our Massa Edge members know, if you read the previews, this is solely a weather under. Just exactly how I said it. Throw all the stats out. We're betting the under because of the weather. Weather is so bad that they go postpone the game a day. So we get a lot of guys asking me and in the chat. So look, my total on this game in a average weather conditions, let's call it 38 degrees with some wind for a normal January in Buffalo, would be 40.5. Dry field this would be. So again, we're only betting this game. We only bet this game for the sole reason of up to 65 mile an hour wind gusts, snow, and what have you. So putting the day off, cannot believe that bets were not canceled. When I see FanDuel, DraftKings, let's say a guy gets injured in the first minute of the game and they give back all the prop bets, I think that's great. But that's so much less than this type of game.
Yeah.
Just picture a baseball game. Any baseball game that gets rained out, even if it's the same pitches the next day, that's a no bet. We are where we're at. Some guys' bets don't count. Most guys that are using public, DraftKings, FanDuel, MGM, what have you, your bet's going, unfortunately, and we've got the worst of this bet. Now, still doesn't look like ideal conditions in Buffalo, but still not enough to be this low of a total. So that's our one bet. That's where we are now. Let's talk about the rest of the football. And
young QBs. Oh.
Look, we couldn't be more right on the money with the Houston Texans. Literally called the game to the T. We had a lot of backlash on a couple of our Instagram lives. Guys were telling us how bad the Cleveland defense is going to be, give Stroud a hard time. No. And look, anything could happen. When we told you guys, you've got the worst team in turnovers, the Cleveland Browns, playing on the road. They're not a good road team, and playing against the best team in turnovers. And the best team in turnovers just happens to be a home dog. This was a no-brainer. Now, any game could be at any different result, as we saw in the Packer game yesterday. But we liked our chances. Stroud looked like a vet, and Flacco looked like Flacco. He's going to throw for a lot of yards, but he's going to make some mistakes, and those mistakes, look, I think Houston would have won the game anyway. They already had a lead prior to any of the turnovers and interceptions. But Houston looks great. Stroud looked great. Cleveland looked like Cleveland on the road. They just not a good road team. The second game of the night, just a dead under. You had a Miami team going to play in sub-zero weathers. How much offense did you think they were going to get going there? So we had the under in that one, which was another winner. Going into yesterday, Lions-Rams game, pretty much what we figured, going to be right there. Anybody's game. Detroit comes up with a big stop on that last drive because Rams needed 10 more yards, kick a field goal, and they got the lead, but it forced the Lions to have to score. Could have been the best thing for Lions bettors if the Rams get a field goal and maybe they come down with a touchdown. But be as it may, the one game that shocked me, and I mean shocked me, was the Packers. Not that they won, but that they went out to a 20-0 lead.
Mm-hmm.
Our only bet was the under in that game, and at 20-0, 2 minutes in the first half, I'm like, okay, we're not in bad position until Dak throws a pick six. By that point, you knew the total was now it's just nothing but a throwing game. Just cannot believe how bad Dallas was in every facet of the game yesterday against the Packers. So that was the one shocker of the weekend. Everything else pretty much played out the way I thought it would. Fish going to sub-zero weather, not going to do well. Not many points going to be scored. A turnover team going to a non-turnover team. Well, they got beat on the road, and then a tough one at Detroit, and tip of the cat to Goff and the Lions, moving on to the next round. But that Dallas, man, that franchise looks like it is jinxed. Can't get out of the first round. Another big almost 16 straight home wins prior to that loss. And like I said, not a loss. This wasn't 24-21 or 28-27, a late field goal. This was an ass whipping from start to finish.
Absolute ass whooping. Got to give credit to the young QBs. Like you said, Stroud, phenomenal. I forget what the comment was on the Instagram Live the other day. Someone said, I don't think you're accounting the experience Flacco has versus dumb rookie Stroud. That's what the comment was. Yeah, we factored it. That went well for us.
Look, to me, Love is a rookie also. I mean, he stood there with a clipboard. I mean, he stood with the clipboard and took his notes with Rodgers. But, I mean, this is really his first year of action. So two first-time playoff quarterbacks really getting the job done.
Yeah, credit to Green Bay. Also, we talked about it on Friday. At least touched on it a little bit as far as New England just passing the torch, already setting up the stones coaching-wise. Green Bay, I mean, it looks like they might be going 3 quarterbacks, 45 years. I mean, just the way they did it, the way they developed him, give him a couple times behind Rodgers. Credit to LaFleur. I mean, what they did, Dallas defense just non-existent. That was terrible to watch. Cowboys going to have some changes coming, and Prescott, I believe, now just the one playoff win, which is just brutal, absolutely brutal. So Cowboys, big question marks. We got 2 games already set up for next weekend.
Let me touch on before we go any further, Ben.
Yep.
Consistency. Just look at Ben talked about that quarterback. So Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now let's see how long Jordan Love's going to be there. But your Tom Brady with Bill Belichick, dynasty. Peyton Manning, when you have that guy, that quarterback there for a period of time, that coach, it's Alabama with Saban. These are coaches. Popovich at San Antonio. That's why they're successful for so long. It's that system. Everybody knows the system.
All about that system, all about consistency. We talk a lot about that. Starting the season definitely plays a factor. Come postseason. Really quick before we start diving into today's slate, John, we got 2 games already set up for the divisional round as far as these 1 seeds and their matchups. Obviously, we'll touch in more on these football games tomorrow. Only 3 games set. Just interested on first opinion here. Ravens, Texans, Green Bay, and San Francisco. Thoughts on these matchups that we're going to be looking at coming up for these divisional rounds. I mean, San Francisco owns Green Bay, and we'll see how much that comes. Obviously, the week off, everything else. Does this Packers team have enough to at least put up a fight as double-digit dogs?
On the road again, and San Fran a bye. That's the other thing. So, again, when you guys are looking at my ratings, my Massa Edge members, so you're going to look at San Fran. I've got them rated 34.5 at home. I've now got Green Bay 26 on the road as they continue just to get better. So that's an 8.5-point difference. Don't forget how huge Packers going on the road for a second straight week in the playoffs, and San Fran not only having a bye this week, but pretty much the final week of the regular season against the Rams as they sat most of their regulars. So those little aches and pains, they should be feeling much better. We talked about this about with the Houston-Cleveland game. Cleveland was able to sit most of their starters because the final game didn't mean anything to them. They were going to be the top wild card spot, while Houston had to fight through and beat Indianapolis to get into the playoffs to win that AFC South. Who looked like the team that was ready and who looked like the team that was still resting? So sometimes continue to play is better than the rest. This is the age-old question. So far we've got one situation where the rested team didn't look ready to play, and that's what happened there. Green Bay going out there. My line is closer to 10. I'm actually between 9.5 and 10. Again, start with the rating. That's the base, but the spot is huge. San Fran has owned this matchup. San Fran with a bye week. Green Bay coming off a huge win at Dallas, beating their old coach, and now going on the road back to the West Coast.
Yeah, we got a couple of games today. It should be Texans and Baltimore, as long as Steelers don't upset Buffalo, which we can start talking about here. Obviously, we talked about the under being a weather under. It's still not supposed to be good weather today, just better than what it was expected on Saturday. As far as, the Steelers team, they come in, they get the win against Ravens and their second and third stringers the other day in the final week 18. That gets him in here. Mason Rudolph, he's been great down the stretch. And then you have this Buffalo Bills team coming along, just playing great down the stretch of the season. A little bit of a letdown perhaps, but this is Buffalo at home, terrible conditions. If Pittsburgh had TJ Watt, I would entertain the spread there with the Steelers, but no TJ Watt just makes it really tough to want to get involved here. Still, though, Mike Tomlin, this is definitely a game he can cover. Don't know if without Watt he can pull off a win, though.
Yeah. Again, this is wait and see how bad the weather is going to be at 4:30. We actually put a little post, a little video. They're shoveling out the stadium in Buffalo as of this morning, and it's still ugly there. So let's just see what that weather is later. Look, if the weather is still bad, is one thing. Buffalo's plays in bad weather. They'll adapt. It's one thing horrific, and that's what it was supposed to. It's what it was yesterday when the game was supposed to get played. So as far as the total, we were in just a real bad situation with the total. At 10 points, playing in that weather, you still have to like the Steelers. Even though they're coming in without TJ Watt, 1-10 since Watts joined the team without him. But even in that kind of weather, points are going to be at a premium. So you have to want to take double digits in that spot. Again, all depends on the weather today. Pittsburgh will get a couple of safeties back. Minka Fitzpatrick, who'd missed the last few games. Look, he's big. Don't know how healthy he is, but he's going to play. And Kazee, the guy that was suspended, the other safety. So at least they'll get a couple of safeties back. Not going to make up for TJ Watt, but it'll help. Buffalo, coming off another big win, coming off a string of big wins. Just so primed for a letdown spot here. And they're a little banged up. They'll be without Gabe Davis. Douglas, the cornerback that they'd gotten over from Green Bay, who, since he's coming over, has picked off everything in sight. So and know that they're banged up from earlier in the year. With Milano, the all-pro linebacker, out, and Tre'Davious White, the cornerback. So this defense has played better. What's the weather like? Still a lot of points, 10 points. I'm not laying Buffalo. I make the game 10. If you're a Massa Edge member, you can see where the ratings are. The line should be 10. The rest has to do with how bad the weather is and how these teams adapt.
Yeah, if you remember last year, they get Miami coming into town for that wild card game, and Bills their massive 14-point favorites, and that's Miami obviously without Tua. And Miami hung around that one, 34-31. They covered within a field goal. Might have a similar feel to that one here. Buffalo pretty much lined up to get Kansas City if they win this game today. We'll see if there's any look there. And the other game, we got Eagles at Tampa Bay. This is the second time they're meeting this season. They won, 25-11 earlier this season. I believe that was week 3 at Tampa Bay. Completely different Eagles team right now, completely different Bucs team as well. They were 5.5 favorites that go around. They won, they covered. You got the revenge factor going for Tampa. Eagles down the stretch just couldn't get it done. 1-5. Their last 6 games, they're 0-6 against the spread. Hurts banged up, Brown banged up, Smith banged up, you name it. They got injuries both sides of the ball. And Tampa looked phenomenal down the stretch. It did look a little shaky there in that last game against Carolina, which they absolutely needed. Offense had some issues, and they are one of the worst teams in the playoffs. They're in the worst division in football, get in by, obviously just the domination. So we'll see if that comes into a factor here. Eagles laying points on the road, John, and we are on Tampa Bay today. A little bit 2 teams trending 2 different directions. Dogs have been going well in the playoffs, and home dogs treated as well with Texans the other night.
Yeah, this to me was just another no-brainer. The home team getting a field goal, 2 different directions isn't the word here. Finished the season 1-5 with that 1 win over Tommy Cutlets and the New York Giants, and they almost gave that up at halftime.
Yep.
Look, besides that, you lose A.J. Brown. He will not play today. Hurts his finger. I don't know if you saw his finger. He came out with a fractured finger. He hadn't thrown until Friday. He wasn't even throwing the ball up until Thursday in practice. This is a banged-up team, losing going down the stretch, going to Tampa Bay. They might win it, but I'm going to take the +3 and the home team here at Tampa Bay. Love the way Mayfield went down the stretch. Now, he's a little banged up too. They listed him questionable the other day. I didn't even put it in my story. I know he's not going to miss. He's banged up. He may not be at 100%, but he'll be out there playing. And the rest of Tampa Bay is as healthy as pretty much they've been all year. Defense intact. They held, yes, I get it. It was Carolina, but they held Carolina down to nothing. I think they'll do a good job. And I think Mayfield will be able to get something done against that poor Eagles defense. This is a defense that led the world in sacks last year. They couldn't be more different, Philly, just giving it up through the air. And I think Mayfield will be able to find Evans for a couple of big ones. We're all over Tampa Bay.
We'll see how these 2 wild card games treat us tonight. We got a couple of matchups already set in stone, and based on look, obviously, for the divisional rounds coming up next weekend, we'll touch more on those. We got a lot of basketball going on today. We got some day games going on, so we'll jump into that right now for you guys looking to get action on the early games. Top game on the card starts this one at 1 o'clock Eastern. Rockets going on to Philly. Rockets absolutely obliterated by the Celtics the other night, 145-113. This Houston team right now, 1-3, 0-4 against the spread on the trip. They are 4-13 on the road this season. And then Philly, they keep getting it done, 14-6 straight up against the spread at home. And they get their big guns back. After a nice win against Sacramento without him, they're going to get Joel Embiid back. Really just weird to me. You could tell John before. I mean, why is he coming back today? Missed a good stretch of games. They get Denver and Jokic at home tomorrow. I would think that'd be the return, but not the case. So with him coming today, the way Rockets are playing on the road, don't know what we're going to get and seeing in Embiid in his first game back. Is he going to have a minutes restriction? Is there not going to be a minutes restriction? Are they going to want him to continue that stretch of 30 points, 10 rebounds? Is that even on the mind at all? So we got to wait to see what's going on there. Could be very interested in the Rockets at halftime, depending on how they're playing with this Embiid in this game. But I got to see how the minutes look for Joel Embiid.
So before we actually start going through the card, let me first say this. Injuries today are insane. I mean, every day is crazy. But, I mean, we've got headliners, Embiid, Luka, Brunson for the Knicks, Dre coming back for Golden State, Bane. Memphis loses another player, and Bane's going to be out 6 weeks. Don't know if Jaylen Brown's in for the Celtics tonight. Heat, Jimmy Butler may be coming back. And the OKC Laker game, got SGA, third leading scorer this year, and LeBron James, leading scorer all time, both questionable. Guys, you got to know the injuries. If there's a handicap, there's a scamdicapper out there giving games out right now, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about because, look, Embiid practiced yesterday and will probably go today. Outside of that, all those are question marks. As I said, with Embiid practicing yesterday, I've got him on the right side of questionable. And what I think they're going to do with Embiid in this spot is just play him just enough to get the rust off. I don't think they'll kill him. As we said, Jokic tomorrow. Jokic and Embiid. Look, don't get yourself confused. These guys want to play each other. These are the last two MVPs. So they're not going to burn Embiid out. The first game coming back, I believe he's missed 7 of prior 9 games. So if he does play, expect a minutes restriction on him. Now, that being said, Philly owns Houston, and they were just down in Houston at the end of December and beat them without Embiid. So not something that they can't do. 5th game in 8-day trip for Houston, and they land in Philly, who's had 2 days off. This is all Philly. But then, look, the number at 7.5 is pretty much with Embiid in. It'll tick up a little higher. My number is a top at 8.5, saying that Embiid will play limited minutes. So expect Embiid to play. If he doesn't play, you guys could go out and grab Houston. They should be better in their second game with Brooks back. Remember, they were playing real good basketball. Brooks went down, and in that 8-game period that he was out, they went from second in points allowed to 5th, where they are now. This is the 5th and 6th teams, Philly being 6th in points allowed in game today. So a lot of points at 8. Let's see what Embiid's story is, how many minutes he'll play.
We got Pelicans at Dallas, one of those weird 2-game sets, but even weirder because all the stars sat in game 1. Pelicans pulled it out, 118-108. No Zion, no Ingram, no McCollum, no Murphy, all rested. Luka did not play. He's doubtful, expected to remain out. Then you have Exum and Jones both out. Lively's questionable. Usually on these, especially when you have 2 teams who are both pretty talented on similar spectrums there, you would look to go for the home team to come back game 2, get that, prevent the sweep. Can't do it with the stars all resting for the Pelicans. Pelicans are nothing in my eyes here. They got a big performance from Hawkins the other night. We'll see if Pelicans can get a 2-game sweep in Dallas. They're playing terrific on the road right now. Currently 8-1, 7-2 against the spread their last 9 road games. Expect them to make that 9-1 as long as it remains Luka out and doubtful.
Look, the way this year is going, it only makes sense that the Pelicans go into Dallas, sit everybody, and still win the game. And then they come back and play everybody today. And then Kyrie comes up with another huge game, as he did against the Knicks, and beat the Knicks. This is just the NBA today. Pelicans will have everybody, and they'll be all fresh as they've now sat in Dallas for 2 days after beating them when they all took a day off. I was shocked. Didn't think they'd have given them all a day off the night after getting beat by Denver. This team was in a nice little groove. But as I said, no different from last year. They weren't supposed to be sitting guys. They weren't supposed to be sitting more than 2 guys. They sat everybody. They sat 4 of their top 5 scorers. Valanciunas is the only one that's one of the top scorers that didn't sit. Without Luka, Kyrie's got to do all the heavy lifting. He's limited also without Lively and Exum. But to me, it's Mavs or nobody in these 2-game back-to-back sets where the home team loses. They're taking points again as a dog. I'd have to take them or nobody. But I'm not on New Orleans. But for me, it would be Pelicans plus points if I get a handful of points or no one.
And you got Magic at the Knicks. You have Magic coming off the loss at OKC. That's now their 3rd in a row. Knicks, they get a nice win the other night at Memphis. They're now, 6-1 since the OG Anunoby trade. Matchup history, pretty split. I'll consider Magic get a win earlier this year in Orlando. Knicks, then they had one meeting in New York last year. Knicks got them there. Magic did win the 2 prior meetings in New York. Lot of under trends in the matchup history. You have 2 of your top 7 teams, I believe, as far as points allowed. You got a good amount of teams in that 6, 7, 8 range, all tied and similar as far as points allowed. 2 better defenses in basketball. Lean here to Orlando. They're not playing that great on the road. Knicks have actually been phenomenal at home this season. 11-4, 9-5-1 against the spread. Ever so slight lean here to Orlando. Got to see what's going on with Brunson a bit, though.
If Brunson's out, it's one thing. If Brunson's in, I don't like Orlando here. Orlando's looked like a little bit of a different team since Franz Wagner's been out. He'll miss again today. Wendell Carter Jr., he's going to be out again also. Knicks just, look, they had that one full down game at Dallas. Take that game out, and they're undefeated, allowing less than 100 points per game since the OG trade. Orlando doesn't score much. They're scoring less without Wagner. Looking for Brunson. Also looking at the under in this. Here's a series that has trended just to the under. Last 6 meetings, all have gone under. Magic last 4 games, they've all gone under. And 6 of the 7 Knicks games, like I said, to take out that one Dallas game, they've all gone under. His game, if we're going to bet under. Waiting on the Brunson info. If Brunson is in, that the total will tick up a little bit. We'll go under at that point. If he's out, we'll go under as soon as we get that info. Knicks or nobody for me, depending on Brunson, and definitely the under.
We got Pistons going on to Washington. Pistons coming off a tight loss to the Rockets. Had a chance with Ivy to win it late. Couldn't do it. But they get the cover in that one. And then the Wizards coming off a big win out Atlanta. 127-99. Blew out that miserable Hawks team at home. Kuzma, big game. Avdija almost had the triple-double, assist shy of it. You have this Pistons team just got awful. We all know the story. 1-35, their last 36. No Cunningham still. Bogdanovich is questionable, and they can't win at Washington. They have lost 14 in a row at Washington. Wizards covered 12 of those. This has got to be Wizards or nobody. I do not want to lay points with a 3-13 Wizards team at home, but I'm going to do it today against this trend here. If there's ever a time to do it, it's against 1-35 Pistons, who they've beaten 14 times in a row in their building.
I could see it if Bogdanovich is out also. You guys know Cam Cunningham. He's out. He's going to miss a little bit more time. Bogdanovich missed the last game, which we had actually bet the Pistons under in that game. And then they announced Bogdanovich was going to be out. And then as Ben said, Ivy misses that last shot, but Duran he's right at the bucket for the tip-in and put us in overtime. But the way things are going this year, he obviously misses the tip-in. Anyway, going to Detroit. Wizards are horrible at home, especially at home. Detroit's just horrible everywhere. These two teams, they made a trade with each other yesterday, as a matter of fact. Detroit sending Bagley and Livers to Washington for Gallinari Muscala. When shit like that doesn't make sense, expect other trades. This to me, must be contract maneuvering, so we'll keep our eyes out for what the next chip to fall may be, as I'm just keeping my eyes on some line movement here. So, with that being said, Wizards absolutely own this matchups. So, it's Wizards or nobody. If Bogdanovich is out, I could see that. If Bogdanovich is out, also looking to lean to the under. Yes, these two teams are two of the worst teams. Washington being the worst in points allowed. But here's another series that has trended under. But the hell are my stats? For the last 5 meetings went under. Without Cunningham, Pistons are playing under ball. And for the Wizards' last 5 have also gone under. So we'll wait for that Bogdanovich make up on mine. But it's Washington nobody, under a nobody in this one.
We got Spurs at Atlanta. The Spurs team covering, but they lose to the Bulls, makes them now 2-4, but 6-0 against the spread. Their last 6 games, they're covering like crazy right now. And you have this Hawks team who is just miserable, blown out by the Wizards. If you get blown out by the Wizards, that is a cause for concern. They are now, 3-8, 2-9 against the spread. Their last 11 overall. Been miserable at home this season, 3-14 against the spread. You got a Spurs team covering everything left and right now. Wemby, he got the game off. He's rested. He has been playing terrific this last little 5-6 game stretch. Obviously, he missed the last game. This is a spot for the Spurs, and it's our one NBA bet so far today, John.
Yeah, this is the one NBA bet, and you guys can actually get a better line better line than I got. I bet +8 this morning. This game has now gone up to 8.5. So if it doesn't move by the time Ben gets this posted, you get a better line than I got on this one. I just don't see this. You can say, I talked about this last week. You could see San Antonio and Wemby just getting a little gradually better. No leaps and bounds, but gradually playing better basketball. Atlanta they're a disaster, an absolute nightmare. They've now lost the last 2 home games by a combined 46 points. They're playing out the string right now. Yep. DeJounte Murray knows he's gone. It's just a matter of when they find a trade partner. It's a team in disarray. No reason for them to be an 8-point favorite here. And I like San Antonio. I only made this a 2-unit bet. And, man, if it goes higher, I'm going to have to press it.
Yeah, underrated loss on this Atlanta Hawks team. I think it was Kevin Huter the last couple of seasons. He's been a big factor in them dropping him off. But if you were to bet against the Hawks every single game this season, you would be hitting at a rate of 76.4%, which is pretty damn good. So we'll keep that going today. We'll see if we can get a nice little win with San Antonio. Then we got Warriors at Memphis, or what used to be the Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, Bame, Aldama, Jackson, and Aldama both questionable. Bane, Smart, Morant out for extended periods of time. Just a different Grizzlies team. They're already, bottom 3 in scoring. Expect that to get even worse. They have absolutely dominated this matchup against the Warriors at home, 7-1, 8-0 against the spread. Typically, I'd be jumping out of my seat to look for Memphis, even slightly banged up. I would want Memphis with the points in this matchup. Just feels like it's blow after blow after blow. Don't know if I can get on this team right now. They're going to need a few games to figure out who's even their guy ball handling right now. I mean, they're down point guard after point guard. Bane steps up. He plays your point forward out of need, and they don't even have that anymore. So we'll see what the ball handling looks like tonight in Memphis.
Ben, maybe you go dribble the ball for them. Look, that's Smart, D-Rose, and Ja. Those are your 3 point guards. They're all done. I mean, they're all done. Now, Bane, who had been doing the other ball handling, he's going to miss the next 6 weeks at least. Memphis went from the best home record in the NBA last year to where they are right now. And what do I got them at? Where are we here? The road with 3-15, straight up 4-14 against the spread, against at home this year. Just absolutely horrible. But they do own this series in Memphis. They've won 7 of the last 8 meetings, covering all 8. That being said, does Golden State just go there and lose because they've got Memphis on their jerseys, or maybe not cover? I wouldn't be surprised. Golden State, it's going to be their first game back with Dre. Long time on suspension. Let's see how he's going to do coming back, how he's going to fit in. We've already talked about Golden State, about the demise of the Golden State dynasty. It's here. It's real. We'll see how they do. I'm certainly not laying Golden State on the road with this number. But, yeah, can't take Memphis as much as I want to take it with that owning the matchup in Memphis. Just when it was so beat up. And you also still got Triple J's questionable, also Jackson Jr. So here's a game. I'll wait and I'll re-rate these teams once they're done playing. Memphis without Bane and Golden State with Dre coming back.
Yeah, the most fascinating thing to me about this Golden State demise is, obviously Curry and Clay, they're getting a bit older. They're not quite what they were, Clay especially. And then you got the young guys, Kuminga, Pajensky, trying to get reps. But the worst of it all is Andrew Wiggins right there, 28 years old in his prime. And it's just the worst of it all. Just crazy. He should be the bridge between, the old and the future.
Not the same since his personal situation last year. He's just not the same player. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than that.
Yep. And we got this next game here, Bulls at Cleveland. Strus left last game. He's questionable here for the Cavs. Bulls win, don't cover against San Antonio. Cavs coming back from a win in Paris. Mitchell, big 45-point game there. Cleveland, 4 straight, 3-1 against the spread, but really against bad competition. Throw Nets in the conversation as well with how they've been playing the last couple of weeks. So this is a Cavs team getting wins, and they want wins in this matchup history as well. They've now won 5 straight meetings, 4-1 against the spread. It would be Cavs or nobody for me in this. I just don't want to back a team coming back from Europe. So maybe potentially could be one of those look to see a Bulls first half. Could be a play here. Maybe Cavs have some rust early, get them legs back under them. Game staying away from. Could be a very good game for live bets either side.
Here's another team, the Bulls, that were just waiting to make trades. They were just waiting to deal Levine, DeRozan, whatever they can get for Caruso. All of a sudden, Levine and Vucevic come back from their injuries. They're playing nice basketball. So wait to see what they're going to do. Cavs have owned this series also pretty much, winning 4 of the last 5 in Cleveland, winning 5 straight overall, and winning in Chicago 109-95 earlier this year. Again, how do they come back from Paris? Struss left the game in Paris. Don't know if he'll be back today. He looks like he's on the wrong side of questionable, and that wouldn't normally be big. But got to remember, already without Mobley and Garland, Struss, they would be down 3 of 5 starters from the start of this year. So the line looks a little low for Cleveland. As far as the total, these are 2 teams that Chicago scores low. Cleveland is 3rd, I believe, in points allowed. But Chicago, the last 3 games, with Levine, Vucevic, and DeRozan, they've been lighting it up at $120 plus per game over those 3 games. So let me get the right number in those 3 games. It's not $120. It is no, I'm sorry, it is. It's averaging up 125.7 points per game over the last 3 games. How does Cleveland get back from Paris? Do they have Struss available? Chicago playing good ball. Is this a little bit of home revenge, or is this an ownership? It's Chicago, and nobody would need more points, though, to pull the trigger.
Then we have Heat going on to Brooklyn. Not a good spot for either team, really. You have Heat on a back-to-back. Jaquez not on the trip. You have Butler in his first game back. We'll see how his return looks. They did get the win there against the Hornets. And then you have this Brooklyn team coming back from the loss to the Cavs in Paris. They're now 3-12, 2-13 against the spread. Their last 15, playing horrible basketball right now. Nets do have a lot of success in the matchup, but just not a good spot, not playing good basketball. Miami banged up still. Butler's first game back. What do you expect out of him? All signs pointing more so towards the total. It'll be a lean to the under more than anything. I have no interest in backing either side in this game.
Yeah, Heat have thrown the clamps on D the last couple of games. Last 2 games, look, granted, Orlando beat up without Wagner, as we said. They're having problems scoring. And last night, Charlotte Hornets, oh my God, is that team a wreck? Thought they'd get a little better with Bull. Him and Rozier, literally, when they say couldn't hit water if they were in the middle of the ocean, that's how bad that they looked yesterday. But either way, Miami playing good D. Brooklyn just struggling. I mean, absolutely struggling. Those struggles continued in Paris. They found themselves down 20 early in the game, put up a little fight to get back into the game a little bit. Just couldn't get it done. They just haven't been getting it done after a really good start. They have owned this matchup, winning 6 of the last 7. We'll wait to see if Butler comes back. He's another guy missed a ton of time. Wouldn't expect him to play a lot. If he does get back, still know 100% that he'll be back today. We expect him back. Doesn't mean that he'll play. Would be Heat or nobody if Butler plays, if we're still getting 2 points. Problem is, they're going to announce Butler. If Butler's in, I imagine this game goes to pick him.
We got Celtics going on to Toronto. You got Celtics coming off a big win against Houston. Brown, he had a big night. He's questionable. Then you have this Raptors team who playing pretty good, all considered, since the trade. They do return from this trip. They only go 2-4 on the trip, but they have been covering 5-2 against the spread their last 7. As far as the matchup history, Celtics more or less own it. 7 straight wins, just 4-3 against the spread. Couple of meetings this year that were pretty close. Toronto giving them some hard, close games. Would be a lean here to the Raptors, especially if Brown ends up being last 2 matchups pretty tight. We'll see if Toronto could keep this one close. We'll see how they look at home. Long trip, but they've had a couple days here. Would be Raptors or nothing. Got to see what's going on. Jaylen Brown.
Like just about every other game, all about the injuries. Yeah, it's Brown. Brown led the Celtics in scoring his last game, and here he is questionable today. Celtics have owned this series, and I mean really owned it. Won the last 7. Although just 4-3 against the spread, they've had even better luck in Toronto. They've winning 4 of the last 5. Winning 5 of the last 6, 4-2 against the spread. Toronto was coming back from that big West Coast trip. They do have 2 days off. If this was a 1 day off situation coming back from that West Coast trip, I would even more so be on the Celtics in this one. My number is a little higher. My number on this is 8, but that's with Brown in, and that's what the number is going to be if Brown is announced in. Sitting at about 7 now. If he's in, it's going to be 8. If he's out, it's going to be 6. I'm right there on the number. Nobody in this one.
We got Pacers at Utah. Shout out the Utah Jazz. Been making us a lot of money lately and can only look at their direction in this game again today. Pacers back-to-back. They cover but lose at Denver 117-109. 9-2, 9-1-1 against the spread. Their last 11. Indiana playing good ball. Only problem is Jazz playing better basketball right now. 11-2 straight up. Their last 13. They've won 8 straight home games. They are 15-4 NBA best against the spread at home this season. They have a little bit of success at home in this matchup. Just a bad spot here for Indiana. That's 2 really tough places to play back-to-back. Denver, then Utah, especially without Tyrese Halliburton. This has got to be Utah Jazz or nobody. Big number here to lay. This is probably the biggest favorite they've been on this stretch of dominance at home. It would still be a lean Jazz or nobody. They're red hot right now.
And Ben, I'm Pacers and nobody, and I'm going to tell you why. So
hit me.
It's back-to-back, and it's 3rd and 4 for Indiana. But back-to-back yesterday was an afternoon game at Denver. So I want all the guys to always remember there's a difference between a back-to-back when you're first getting in 2, 3 in the morning, get into the hotel, whatever, as opposed to playing an afternoon game and getting in at 7, 8 o'clock. Just a whole different story as far as the legs and everything. So that's A. B, back-to-backs are going to affect certain teams differently. Pacers are one of the deepest teams. They run a lot of guys out there. Yep. So because it's back-to-back and because it was a daytime game, Indiana being a deep team, I'm not gonna kill it that much. I love what Utah's doing, playing great basketball right now. Line makers see that too. I think they've overpriced Utah in this one. If it goes any higher, even without Halliburton, and believe me how much Halliburton means to this team. This team was, look, they still lead the league in scoring, but I mean, they were flying at 120-something per game in the last 3 games now without Halliburton, averaging just 115.7 per game. So a big difference without him, but they know Halliburton's out. They know Utah is red hot. They've juiced that line just a little bit. So I'm Pacers or no one in this one.
Yep, 2 of your hottest teams in basketball, not named the Clippers.
Right, remember, Pacers are just 8-2 in their last 10 games, playing real good basketball.
Yep, and we'll see how that game treats us. Nice young matchup. Obviously would have been better with Halliburton in there. Last game on the card, good one. Maybe depends on who plays tonight. Thunder at the Lakers. SGA coming off a massive game against the Magic. 37 points, 7 assists, 0 turnovers, shot 13 of 20, playing out of his damn mind. But he's questionable, and they get the Clippers tomorrow. Former team. Is that maybe a little bit of a reason for him being questionable? Does he want fresh legs for that matchup? Do they, care about that matchup with the Clippers more? Is that more of a threat to them down the line in the playoffs? Is that something they're looking at? So got to see if he's going. Lakers lose at Utah the other night. Make us money on that game. D'Angelo Russell had a big night, 39 points. AD triple-double, but shot like shit in that one, 5 of 21. Reddish, he left the game. He's out. LeBron's questionable. This game's injuries. If SGA is out, this is absolutely a must-win game for the Lakers, LeBron or not. Can't lose this game on your home floor without SGA in this game.
You would think, and just we have some fun with every day saying, of course, LeBron is questionable. So he actually was questionable and did not play that last game. He's legitimately questionable today. Again, to give you a breakdown on this one, if SGA's in and LeBron's not, I'm on OKC. It's the other way around. I mean, I'm on the Lakers. So to give you a breakdown on this one stuff, they've played twice, both games in Oklahoma City so far this year. They split 2 meetings. OKC playing above where everybody thought they'd be. We knew they were good, and we knew their arrow was heading up. They were going to be a team to reckon with. Didn't think they'd be one of the top 4. And that's what they're right there.
Yeah.
It's Clippers, Denver, Mini, OKC, and New Orleans maybe 5th underneath them. So, I mean, they're top 4 right now with Minnesota in there also. Lakers are out of the playoff picture right now. So just chew on that a little bit. Give me 1 second here as we want to get ready to make a bet if necessary. So anyway, all about the injuries. We'll be on top of LeBron, SGA. SGA, as we said, your 3rd leading scorer in the NBA. That's a guy that we've got to know if he's in or out. And obviously, LeBron, even at 39, still doing LeBron things.
And that is the massive Monday MLK slate. Bunch of NBA games, 2 NFL playoff games. We're running a few minutes late here for the Instagram Live. We're going a bit longer on today's episode because of so many games, the weekend recap, everything else. We appreciate all you guys tuning in. So really if you could, like, comment, subscribe below, help us grow this thing a little bit. And John, I don't know if you have anything else to add, but we got a lot of day games coming up, a lot of work to get to.
Yep, everybody enjoy your Martin Luther King Day. A lot of basketball today, a couple of NFL, a lot of stuff to get on. Nice, easy day tomorrow. We'll make up for it today. Let's make some money.